Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got something on my shirt. Anyway, we're rolling with it. So we're fixing to do our September project, and Peggy sent over a pattern for easy placemats. So I think this will be kind of fun. She used patriotic fabric, but you could use any fabric. But when I got to looking at this, I thought, what a great way to use up a spare block, or like a random block. If you had one, I thought I had some right here close, and I do not have any. But if you had a random block, you could use this also. And it's going to be reversible. We're not going to put any batting in it, which, you know, she said that she doesn't like batting in them because they're just a little bit too thick, and your glasses and whatever have a tendency to turn over, and I have to totally agree with her. But doing it this way, throw them in the wash, dryer, whatever. Easy peasy, and then you can make them, you know, for any holiday, or the fall's coming up and you're gonna have family get-togethers. If you had some yardage or even fat quarters and you just wanted to do a bunch of different ones, I'm gonna use some fat quarters today on mine. And I'm gonna make two, one for my husband and one for myself, because we eat on the TV trays a lot, and so I can just put it on there and keep the plate from getting sweaty underneath on the wood. So yeah, it'll work out great. So let's go over to the fabric cutting table. Since this is such a quick and easy project, I thought I'd show you cutting some fabric. So let's go over there and get started. Okay, so you may hear the birds in the background. Don't pay no mind. Oops, and I'm dropping things, and I am very sorry about all that. Don't pay no mind. So in the pattern, we have a thinner strip and then a bigger square. And so what I'm using, because it's reversible, so I'm doing two different sides on mine. So I've got this really pretty gray, and I thought I would use this for the strip, this lighter. Oh, it's got all different colors in it. It's really pretty. And then on my other side, I'm going to use this blue check with these blue stars for the thinner. I think that's going to look really good. So I'm going to cut both pieces at once. So the first piece we need is a 13.5 by 13.5, and I'm just going to layer these up nice and neat. Now I don't have a ruler that is big enough to cut 13. The biggest ruler I've got is 12.5 square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these up in half this way. And then I am going to clean up this edge a little bit. So I've got this lined up on some lines on my mat. And I'm just going to take off a little smidgen here just to make sure I've got a nice clean edge. And then I'm going to measure over 13.5. So my ruler here is 15.5. But if I come over 13.5, that puts me right here. So I'm just going to flip my ruler around and cut 13.5. Okay. Now we're going to open this back up, and then we're going to come back this way and fold it in half and do the same thing, and we should come out with 13.5 by 13.5. So I'm going to cut off this little bit of extra here, to make a clean edge. All right, and then come over 13.5 puts me right here. Now this is how I have to do it, because I don't have a ruler big enough, and I don't really trust the lines on my mat too much. But it should be 13.5 by 13.5 inch square. So I've got those two, and then we need a 5.5 by 13.5 inch strip, and these are going to be our side pieces. So again, I'm just going to fold this up. It's easier for me to work if I have smaller fabric. If it's real big, it seems like my cutting gets, I don't know about y'all, but mine gets all 9 kinds of crazy. So I'm just lining that up on my mat there. I'm going to cut this off for a clean edge, like so. And then it's 5.5. This is just a 5-inch ruler. I do have a bigger ruler here that we can do. So we can go 5.5 from that clean edge. All right, this is the extra. So you could actually make, out of 4 fat quarters, you can make 2 of these and just use the strip here as the bigger piece because you got so much left over. All right, and then I'm going to open these up like so, line them back up, and basically cut again, only I'm not going to fold them in half this time. Line that up on an edge. Clean up this edge here. And since this ruler is 13.5, I can just come over here like so. Come up and up. Okay. All right. So I've got my 2 strips that I need. So let's go back to the sewing machine and get this put together. So basically now what we're doing is just going to sew this 5.5 inch strip onto one side of our square here that we cut, the 13.5 inch square. So 1/4 inch seam. I need to check on my settings. I was doing paper piecing earlier, and so I need to make sure that all my settings are right. And then just come right down. Hopefully I don't run out of thread. And, oops, I didn't mean to cut it, but anyway, we can go ahead and run this other one through while we're at it here. Okay, 1/4 inch seam. Same thing. Zoom right down. Okay, so let's get these pressed open. All right, so I'm just going to press this to the darker side, I think. On these. I got a new little iron. You know, I was using the Aliso. This is a Dritz. I think I got it from Missouri Star when they had them on sale. I don't keep water in my little irons because I don't want them to leak. The Aliso, I love it. It gets super hot, got the sharp point on it. But the problem was it doesn't have, the cord comes directly out of the back, so you couldn't set it up like you would a regular iron. And even though it comes with a little silicone pad, you know, that iron setting on there, if you left it or you might have forgot about it or something, just really worrisome. So I went with the little Dritz here. And I actually really love this little iron. I wasn't sure about it at first, but now that I've got it and using it, I really like it. Anyway, not a plug for anybody. I'm not getting paid. I'm just saying what I like to use. So let's see. I'll do the same thing on this one. I'm going to just iron it from the back first, and then you could, you know, press your seams open here. Whatever, however you want. Whatever floats your boat. Okie dokie. So we got both of those pieces done. So the next thing's just super easy. So we're just going to put these right sides together. So here's my first one with the strip on this side. Here's my second one. I'm going to put the strips at opposite ends. And then that way they're not over top of each other. And you could pin it at this point, which I think I might add a couple of pins, whatever, in here. I'm just going to line this end up first. And the good thing on this is it doesn't have to be like super exact, because, you know, it's not like a quilt that absolutely must be squared just perfectly straight in order for everything to go together. But mine is just a little short on this one end, but that's okay. I'm going to stick a pin in here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is just take it to the sewing machine. We're going to stitch all the way around, but we're going to leave an opening. And so for me to remember to leave an opening, because I have a bad habit of just stitching and sewing and not paying attention, I think I'll leave it right about here. I'm just going to take a pencil, make a couple of marks I know to leave that open so that we can turn it right side out, and that's it. So to help myself remember, I'm going to start at one of these marks and go down and around and come back to this other mark, because if I do it any other way, who knows what I'm going to end up with. Anyway, all right, so 1/4 inch seam, back stitch at the beginning and into this because you want to secure that opening so when you're pulling it through, nothing, you know, tears loose on you. So back stitch and then just all the way down and around. And you can sew off if you want and then rotate, or you could pivot, put your needle down and pivot, however you want to do it. But I am going to back stitch there just because that's a starting seam. And then keep coming down. And I think I'll back stitch. I didn't back stitch on that one, but since I'm sewing off, I'm going to go ahead and do that and back stitch when I start. Stick that under there. Okay. Come back down this side. Alright, we're almost there. Back stitch. Two more sides here. Well, I hope I ain't vibrating the phone, the camera. All right, last side. Yep, we're almost there. Okay, take that needle out because I just poked myself. One reason I don't like to use needles. Okay, I'm back at my marks here, so back stitch. All right. Now for the corners, I would recommend coming in here with some scissors and just nipping off that little sharp point. Don't get into your stitches, just stitch right next to your, cut right next to your stitches. And that will help you to get your corners to flatten out a little bit better. So, all right. Making a mess. Okay, so all we got to do now, turn it right side out. So I'm just going to reach in here and get a corner and then pull it through. Now you could, if you prefer batting in yours, or you like them a little fluffier, you could absolutely put a piece of, when you're doing it this way, sew a piece of batting on one side, one of them, and then just pull it out. When you pull it inside out, that batting will be, on the inside. So definitely could do that, or you could use it maybe like a piece of flannel, just to give it a little cushion. But honestly, I've already made 2 of these, and honestly, you don't need it. So anyway, I've got a little, I don't know, it's kind of like a stiletto thing. I'm going to come in here and get that one's kind of sharp. I might better get something else. Let's see here. Well, I don't have anything else, so I guess this is what we're using. Use your finger, a chopstick, whatever, and come in here and just, push those corners out and get a nice little corner there. So see, I got a nice corner. Perfect. Okay, we're going to come over here, do the same thing on the other side. Just keep working it out till you get it where you want it. And if your iron isn't hot, go ahead and warm it up now, because we are going to press this nice and flat so that we can top stitch it and top stitch everything closed. Okay, got that corner. And last corner. Maybe. Come on now. There you go. Okay, I'm getting her now. There we go. Okay. All right. This is done. So there's one side, and here is the reversible side. So let's get this ironed up. Okay. So when you're ironing this, just make sure you roll your seams here. You want all your seams to be out so that when you iron it, it's nice and flat and they're flush and you're not seeing one fabric over the top of the other. So you just got to kind of work it a little bit. And I'll just work it with my hands and make sure that's all out. All right, perfect. Okay, So here's my hole right here. So what I'm going to do is start ironing there first, because what I want to do is take this. If you'll take your fingers in here and just pull, it should fold those two pieces of fabric down right where you need them to be. I like to do it when it's down on the table, because it's easier and I can make sure it's all rolled up nice. And there we go. And if it's not, you can just, you know, if it doesn't look even with your edge there, you can just re-iron it. No big deal. But anyway, we're going to give this whole thing a press. Get all those seams flat. Oops. And that way, when we go to top stitch it, everything's nice and flat and in place, and it'll be perfect. So I'm going to do this edge here. Awesome. Let me make sure on this side everything looks good. Okay. All right, so all we got to do now is top stitch it. So if you like using decorative stitches, this would be a perfect place to do this. I'm going to start right here is my opening. So I'm going to start right there and just go all the way around and top stitch. I have to cut that out of there. I don't know what I did. Anyway, all right, so I'm just going to come over here. I would say about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Just make sure you catch your fabric here from your opening so that it stays closed. So you need to be close enough to the edge for that back stitch. And I didn't even change my thread color. I still got the same thread. Like I said, these are placemats to be used every single day, and I want to be able to wash them and do all the things with them. So then I'm just going to pivot, make sure that I'm on the edge there, come right around. Sounded like I was out of thread. Just go all the way around. You know, you can get really creative with these placemats. I mean, if you wanted to add a little pocket on one end for utensils, so that you could roll this up and take it with you like on a picnic, or if you were out camping. Ooh, that's a great idea. I'll show you how to do that. Even though this is already finished, we can still do that. That's a great idea. Sometimes I surprise myself. I just thought of that, and I thought, man, if you was going camping, you know, and you wanted to keep your silverware, I got it. I got you covered. I'm fixing to show you. Okay. All right. So basically right now, these are done just like they are. Perfectly fine. Once you washed them and dried them, all you would have to do is maybe just press them, iron them right quick to get them good and flat again. However, you can do just a little bit of quilting on this just to hold the two pieces of fabric together, which is what I did on my other ones. I just did an X down from corner to corner on both sides. So you could do that, but let's go cut a piece of fabric to add to this for some utensils and get it added onto here. I think this is going to be really fun. So, you know, we had leftover pretty big chunks right here of fabric. So this, since I used the checkered or whatever on this side, but I want to put my utensil deal on this stripe, and you can do this on either side. I'm just going to put it on the one side right here. So I want to put it on here. We know this is 5 inches finished. I think what I am going to do is cut my fabric. I'm going to fold this over because I want this fold. You definitely want this fold right here, because this is going to be the top part of our utensil pocket. All right, so I want the fold right there. And because I'm going to add a utensil, let me go get something so I can measure this just to be sure. I'm sure this has probably been done in other videos. I'm just winging this because I just now thought of it. But anyway, I've got a spoon. So, you know, you probably want it to go down in your pocket just a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of measure. If you were planning on taking these camping, plasticware, you could make this just a little bit shorter. But I'm looking at right at 7 inches. All right, so that's what I'm going to cut this. Now this is folded. All right, and I've got my fold right here. I want to keep that. So I'm going to line this up right here. 7 inches. Let's go 4.5. So 7 by 4.5. So my fold is down here on 7. I'm coming over to the half mark. Okay, so I've got my piece of fabric here. All right, so we're going to turn this right side out because we're going to stitch this just on the 3 sides first. I've not stitched this yet, but let me show you a little trick, because we don't want raw edges on the bottom when we put it onto our placemat. So we're going to have to fold these up anyway and get them tucked in, and sometimes it can be a little difficult to do that you know, when it's already sewn on. So what I'm going to do is just roll this up about 1/4 inch and iron it. Just make sure it's even all the way across. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Roll it up to the wrong side and just press it. And then when we get it all done, the raw edges are all nice and tucked in. They're already pressed. It's going to be easy peasy. So right sides together, bring these 2 ends together, and you could pin this if you want. And we're going to stitch down one side, down the other side, and then flip it right side out. I learned this little trick with the raw edges. I make a lot of bags, and they have the linings in them, and with the pockets on the inside. And so this is just an easy way to make sure you get a really nice, clean, finished edge. So 1/4 inch back stitch at the bottom, come all the way to the top. Now I said earlier we're going to sew on 3 sides, but we don't need to because we have the fold here. So I'm going to come down this other side. Okay, so then all I got to do is just turn this right side out, and we are going to have a nice little pocket. I'm sure somebody's probably done this on videos before, but like I said, it had just struck me, if you were going to go camping with these, this would be fantastic. So let's get this pressed out right quick. Let me get this corner poked out. There we go. Okay, so you can see what I'm talking about. See how nice that edge is? Because we already folded those in. If you were trying to do this after you turn it right side out, sometimes that gets it just doesn't turn out as nice, I don't think. But anyway, let's get it pressed. Okay, so we're just gonna press it. Just get it nice and flat. Now, if you wanted to top stitch your fold right here, you could go ahead and do that before we attach it. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I'm gonna bring my placemat over here and figure out where I want my, and make sure it's nice and square, where I want my utensil holder. And I think right here is good. So I am going to put a pin here, and I'll put one down here. Perfect. Okay. All right, so we're going to start up here at the top and come down. We are going to sew across the bottom, and that's going to close this pocket up, and then come up the other side. We're going to back stitch at the very top because you're going to be putting stuff in and out of there. You want to really secure it. All right, here we go. And again, if you wanted to use decorative stitching, this would be a good place to do it. So back stitch really well right here because we want to secure that in there. Now you could put this pocket on before we sew them all together. Like I said, I'm impromptu last minute decision here, but it's still going to look just as great. All right, and we're going to come across the bottom, and that is going to close up our little pocket. Okay, and come down this other side. Ooh, I got a little crooked there. Hopefully it's all right. Nobody will ever notice. All right, back stitch really well here again. Perfect. All right, now we have a little pocket for our utensils. Yay! So my idea for this pocket was, say you're gonna go camping or whatever and you want to put your utensils in there, then you can fold this top over and just roll this up and put it in your picnic basket. How easy is that? You've got your utensils in there. You could put a napkin inside and toss it in your little camping box, and you're ready to go. I love it. I think that's just... Anyway, that was my idea. Do it with it what you will. So yeah, I think these are a great thing to take camping or barbecues if you're outside, but just in the house. They're thin. So like if you have them on the table and you set your glass on here, it's not going to get kind of wobbly on you. Your plate will stay flat or whatever you're using it for. I was using one for a casserole dish the other day just to keep that heat from getting onto my table. I have a solid wood table, so anyway. And then of course we added the pocket to the one side, so perfect. Peggy, thank you for this idea. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I'd already made two. And you know, if you wanted to, you could come in here and do some free motion quilting. It'll quilt up just the same. It won't be as fluffy as if it had batting, but it'll quilt, and that will hold all of your fabric together. And now it's reversible. It's all cotton. Just throw it in the washing machine, throw it in the dryer. Don't worry about it. Perfect. Perfect placemats. And the possibilities for your creativity on these is pretty much endless. I mean, you know, you could use leftover blocks. You could make them fall themed, Halloween themed. You could put applique in this big, you know, if you wanted to do like Halloween and applique a pumpkin or a spider or something on that. I mean, the possibilities are just endless. Lots and lots of stuff you can do with them. So anyway, that's our September project. I appreciate you joining me and making these. I'm just like over the moon about this because now I'm thinking some campers that I know that love to go camping, some Christmas gifts. Yeah, lots of fun with these. All right, so let's see. I think that's it. I will have a link to the paper pattern that she has down in the description box below. It's just a Dropbox share, and then you can download it if you need it. I did give you all the measurements in the beginning of the video. And let's see. Oh, Facebook. If you'd like to join us in our Facebook group, it's called Peggy's Quilting Group. So just search Peggy's Quilting Group. She also has Peggy's Quilting, which is just her business page. But you need to add Peggy's Quilting Group, those 3 words in there, and it should come up for you. And we would love to have you. Just tell us that you found us through YouTube. Love to have you over there. I hang out there a lot. Great group of ladies, very laid back groups. Nothing like none of the other quilting groups at all. Some of y'all, if you know, you know. Some of y'all know. All right. Anyway. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your month. Fall is coming, so that means lots of Halloween, lots of fall projects, trying to cram for Christmas and get everything done. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some fun stuff coming up for next month. I think I have a fun one planned that would make great gifts. So anyway, all right, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next month.